Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Commander Clash podcast, where we talk all things Commander. And this week, we are going over the definition of casual. Your deck isn't casual if you play these cards. We have a selection of cards, and we're going to test whether you should include them in your casual deck. When someone sits down for a casual game, should you be disclaimer, I run these cards or not? Or if everyone is overly sensitive and we should just play whatever we want. So join with me, Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Happy New Year's, everyone. I think this is our first podcast of the new year, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
So. Correct.
I think you're right.
The Asian Avenger Krim, how are you doing?
Good morning. I'm excited because, to be honest with you, this is an interesting topic. Because
And Budget Commander Tomer, how are you doing?
Good. I just realized this is our second one, actually, because we had one that, oh well.
Happy New Week.
We've
Happy
shattered
New
the now the viewers know that we didn't record it 10 minutes
Oh
before
no!
we recorded it last year and went up a week later. Everyone knows
The
it's
illusion
ruined.
is shattered,
Shut it
Richard.
down.
No, you're talking to the fourth wall.
Okay. So before we get into that, new year means a new sponsor, guys. Today's show is brought to you by Ultimate Guard, premium protection for your trading cards. All the gaming accessories used on this channel are supplied by Ultimate Guard, so you can flick your cards silky smooth like Saffron Olive. Check out ultimateguard.com. And of course, today's show is also brought to you by Card Conduit, the easiest way to sell your Magic cards. Card Conduit lets you skip all the typing, time, and work associated with buy listing. Their curated service lets you send in as many cards as you want with buy list value of $1 or more, and you pay just a 5% service fee. You can use their sorted service where you list and sort your cards and pay only 2%. You get a detailed report and fast payment once your order is processed. Get 10% off by heading over to cardconduit.com/mtggoldfish. All right. Before we get into today's topic, we also have another new feature on the podcast, and that will be the Ultimate Guard question of the week, where we highlight the top comment from last week's podcast. So last week, we talked about the smallest hill we're willing to die on, and the top voted comment on YouTube was from ANXEZ. For once, I fully sit behind Richard. That's in reference to everyone should play Mismatch Basics. Saffron Olive, as a Matched Basics viewer, how did you feel that people actually sided with me?
Did you add this segment just so you could read this comment on the podcast, Richard?
like-
I kind of feel like...
You gotta take the victories when they come. You gotta take the victories when they come, okay? For once, I open it up and everyone's like, Richard is a civilized person who knows what he's talking about. Good job, Richard. So, yeah.
Richard, it's true. Like,
It's
mix
true.
and match basics is correct.
It is correct.
I'm not
This
hating
is-
on anybody.
We're just spitting facts here. I don't know what the point of this segment is, but okay. So yeah, let's jump into today's podcast. Your deck isn't casual if you play these cards. I will name some cards. You guys tell me if it's casual or not. So, Mana Crypt. A 0 mana rock that taps for 2 mana. At the beginning of your upkeep, flip a coin. If you lose, you take 3 damage. Soul Ring is in every deck, so Mana Crypt
I mean,
should be there too, right?
it's got to be because of Soul Ring, right? Like, they're of equal power level. Everyone and their mother plays Soul Ring in every deck. Mana Crypt is essentially the same thing. I guess the difference is it costs $100. Does price play into this? Is the cost the reason it's not casual? Like, is that
$180.
$180. Like, but is that like why it's not casual? Because gameplay wise, it's the same as Soul Ring.
So
I think that's got to be a huge part of it, right? Because it is definitely price. Otherwise, I totally think everything else outside of price, it is totally the same as Soul Ring. As long as Soul Ring can exist,
But
I don't see why Mana Crypt can't.
But wouldn't that mean that how often Wizards chooses to reprint a card and at what rarity determines if something's casual or not? That can't be how we define casual, because they reprint Soul Ring in every precon, so it's $2. They never reprint Mana Crypt, it's always a mythic, so it's $180. Is that really how we decide what's casual or not?
Funny enough, I mean, like, I don't know if that's like my standard specifically on what makes it casual, but I will say that, yeah, like my friend was lucky enough to open in Ixalan a Mana Crypt, right? And so it's like, well, why can't I play this, right? Like they're new to the game. They don't know. Like they just started playing Commander roughly about like a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago actually. And yeah, like through their eyes, like, oh wait, they asked me about the power imbalance or balance of the card because they opened it and they wanted to play it and it looked cool. And they thought it was fine because it felt the same as Sol Ring to them. I asked them specifically, funny enough, like, do you feel this is stronger than this card? And they said, well, aren't these like, kind of the same thing? But yeah, so I think price is and availability is the only thing that keeps it from being more universally accepted.
So my take on the question in general is that I think like all cards are pretty casual. Like it just depends on how powerful your deck wants to be. And I feel like Mana Crypt definitely enables all decks you put it in to have a very high win percentage over everybody else if you play it early. And I think that's something to be noted, like it can be used casually, but it will make your deck significantly more powerful. And that's just something to keep in mind. So if you're running your deck against precons, then maybe the Mana Crypt might not be the right call to run against precon decks or whatever. But if you're at a high power table, it's still casual. Or if you're running like a mid power table and you're using it to power out Jink, it's still, could be mid power. But it will definitely significantly increase the power of your deck. And that's sometimes not desirable. That's all.
So I think price is a factor here, but price is not the only factor, right? Because if I play like Chains of Mephistopheles or something that's like $1,000, no one's gonna give a crap, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what does it even do.
Yeah.
So I can pull out old Legends cards that are worth a lot of money and no one will care. It's a Sol Ring, and I think what causes it to not to be casual is that it's a second Sol Ring, right? The more fast mana you start adding to your deck, the less casual it gets. So if you took a Sol Ring and subbed it for a Mana Crypt, then like nothing really happened. But if you have a Sol Ring already, and then you add a Mana Crypt, maybe you add an Ancient Tomb, maybe you add a Mox, and like it's starting to not get casual quite quickly. So it's the redundancy and critical mass. Like the likelihood that you get this on turn 1 increases, and then your deck suddenly becomes like not casual. Imagine you sit down, people playing precons, everyone's like first bomb is like turn 5, except you went Sol Ring, Mana Crypt, and like dropped your thing down, right? Like you're like, oh, that's weird. So it's got to be critical mass, and then like some price aspect. Or people just salty they can't afford Mana Crypt.
That might be part of it too. I will say, I think fast mana is like the least casual thing. When I think of like casual commander versus CDH, for me, the biggest differentiator is CDH is where everyone plays all the fast mana. And in casual, people play their Sol Ring that they got in their precon and some like 2 mana signets or talismans or whatever. So I think for me, like, I don't know, a bunch of fast mana, redundant fast mana, to me is not casual. I would argue that Sol Ring should be thought of similarly to Mana Crypt, and maybe that's not casual either, but that's probably off topic for this podcast.
That's my grandfather.
But yeah. But I do think this is the biggest differentiator. Like fast mana, I think is not casual in general.
All right.
Yeah, same. I think that's there's very few things I view on this that like couldn't be casual except for like a load, and I mean a full critical mass of like fast mana.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next card. Underworld Breach. 2-mana enchantment. Each non-land card in your graveyard has escape. The escape cost is equal to its mana cost. Plus exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. At the beginning of your end step, sacrifice Underworld Breach. I will die on this hill. You put Underworld Breach in your deck, it's not casual.
I disagree. I disagree. So I think I kind of disagree. So I think that you can play Underworld Breach casually, but I also think it really depends on the deck and what you're doing. Are you storming? Are you using it for value? I will also say Underworld Breach is a card that tricks me into putting it in most decks as my Red Eternal Witness. I'm like, oh, I need a way to recur something in my red deck. Might as well play Underworld Breach. And then I end up having this huge combo turn and like winning the game without even trying to, which I guess maybe is an argument for Richard's point that maybe it's actually not that casual and we just like trick ourselves into thinking it's casual, because it's almost like Paradox Engine, right? Where like in the late game, you just have a big graveyard and you play this. And even if you're not trying to, if you're trying to Eternal Witness it, you might just like kind of accidentally combo off and win the game, even if that's not what your deck's designed to do.
I guess I guess I'm ignorant on this because I always viewed it as like a fine card unless you have ways to abuse it. But I always point to the cards you abuse with it as the problem, not Underworld Breach. Like Seth said, like sometimes I just have a red deck and I want ways to recur. Red can recur artifacts and sometimes instant sorceries, but what if you want to recur like an enchantment or something like that, or creatures? Red just has very limited ways of doing that. So yeah, I just jam it in there. But yeah, if I have like a Jessica's Will in there, or I have like mana crypts and stuff in there, then surely it goes bananas. But like, is that the problem with Breach, or is that the problem with fast mana again? And I think it's the latter. It's when you have all the rituals and whatnot, then you just pop off. And I think that's the problem, not the Breach.
I mean, I think that Breach has always just been a problem.
Really?
But like, I don't know. Is it any different than from like? Actually, I don't even know if I should mention it because there's other cards that are very much so similar to it on this list. But like, yeah, I don't know. I view it as usually a problem. It's very, very, very good.
But is it casual, Grim?
I think that's the problem. I don't think it is casual.
Dang.
This is one of the few cards that I don't view as casual. I don't play it in any of my decks for that reason as well. Yeah, that's right. Even me, sweaty Crim, apparently.
Wow.
Air quotes around sweaty. I don't even play it.
It's straight up 2 mana.
Dogwood.
Make anywhere from like 5 to 15 mana. Draw like 8 cards or something with the ability to tutor, because you're specifically selecting which cards to draw. And Tomer's right. It depends on what cards you play with it, but the problem is those cards go in every single red deck. Do you have the Soul Ring in your deck? Probably yes. Do you have the Jessica's Will? Do you have a Mana Geyser?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a Big Score? Do you have like literally any red spell, right? That generates treasures, that generates card advantage, right? Like there's just like a million things it combos with. It's like Golos or something, right? You can try to build it fair and it always ends up broken. And like even the value breach where you can't combo kill someone is absurd for literally a 2 mana card. It's a 2 mana card. So it's just so easy to combo. And trust me, I've played lots of breaches. I've tried playing them in janky decks, and every single time it's like disgusting, right? It's disgusting, even if you don't try to do anything with it. There's always cards in red that combo with it. So like maybe if you play mono white or something and splash 1 breach, you can get away with it. But red just makes treasures. It makes mana. Jessica's Will is a thing. Wheel of Fortune is a thing. Like there's all these cards that just like really help you for just 2 mana with breach.
I had it in my Chandra Friends deck, and I want to say that it wasn't a problem, but I do run Mana Geyser and Jessica's Will in that deck, and if I had those 2 things in the graveyard, then I did silly things. And so you're probably right. Like maybe it is a little bit sweaty. I don't think it's like not casual, but it's definitely high powered.
All right. Infamous Dockside Extortionists. So this has been banned for seasons on Clash. 2 mana, 1/2. Goblin Pirate, when it enters the battlefield, create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of artifacts and enchantments your opponents control. I have tried the casual. You guys yelled at me, so
you did like that. You comboed off with it, all right? That's like
it was like a 6-card combo or something stupid. But it doesn't matter when you have infinite mana. It doesn't matter how many cards you need, because I'm pretty sure Breach was part of that equation too. When you have infinite mana and infinite cards, like nothing is casual anymore.
I mean, when you see one, I almost feel like you always see the other, right? If you see Breach, you'll definitely see Dockside.
Because when you Breach, what better thing to bring back than a Dockside Extortionist to like get 20 mana, right? Like why not?
Exactly,
right?
yeah. Like it's so comically easy to generate all the mana you could possibly want with Extortionist, and then because it's blinkable too, like it's just far too easy to rocket you to accomplishing your game plan. I think it's like if you have like you probably should leave Dockside out of like the low power decks for sure, and like keep it towards high power. But yeah,
Tomer's so wishy-washy. Come on, Tomer. Come on. You can say that
No,
something's
because, like,
not casual. It's
I honestly
okay.
think, like, I honestly think every single card is okay and casual, because casual is such a huge spectrum. What can we
Yeah.
say? Like, if we're playing like high powered decks, like I think all of these cards are absolutely fine. But like if we're like talking our power level, which is like mid, like yeah, no.
So I guess to frame this conversation so we actually have some answers. If you walk down to a random table at MagicCon and they're saying casual,
Yeah.
do you feel the need to pull these cards out of your deck? Or do you feel the need to be, disclaimer, guys, I have this card in my deck? Or are you just like, whatever, let's roll, right? Like that, I think that's would be
fair.
a reasonable definition of casual, right?
Yeah.
So here's my argument for Dockside being casual. I should preface this by saying I think Dockside should be banned. If I get to choose one commander card to ban, it would probably be Dockside. But
Soul Ring?
well, okay, maybe two. If I could choose two cards, Dockside would be number
But
two
you know
behind
that's
Soul Ring.
not
But
happening.
yeah, I've given up on that. I just know that's never going to happen, even though it should. But it came from a commander precon. Like, isn't commander precons the definition of casual? That's where like the random casual player buys this deck in the Walmart checkout. They play it with their friends. Yeah, can you really call a card made in a fairly recent commander precon not casual? Because I feel like it has to be casual just because of where
Remember
it
when
came
they
from.
made I think the event deck with Stoneforge or something, and then they banned Stoneforge,
Yeah.
but they're like, wait,
You can play the deck.
if you play this exact 60 card list,
Yeah.
you're allowed to play Stoneforge.
If you play this,
can't.
if you play this exact precon, then Dockside is
If you
absolutely
play
fine
Dockside
and
with a
casual.
bunch of trash, like, okay, you can do it. Okay, if we fix your deck.
I will also say I have a couple Docksides that I just randomly open. Like I got the commander precons that year, and I've taken them out of all my decks. I don't actually play them anymore. I had them at once, and I ran into the like feeling guilty about it, like feeling like I had to tell people, oh, I got a Dockside in this deck before I played. So I just cut them. So I guess maybe it's not casual for me.
I mean, yeah, it's not. I again, I'm with you there, Seth. There's very few things I want banned. And that's one of them. I think Dockside is definitely, actually, I feel like Dockside is like maybe one of only two cards I actually want banned. For the most part, I don't view any card really as a problem. So
The only thing that Dockside, like the only reason why I put like Mana Crypt and Sol Ring over it is Dockside is not like a good turn 1 or turn 2 play. Like in CDH, maybe like if everybody's like popping off of like Mana Crypts and stuff before your turn, then you can Dockside turn 1 or whatever and still get value. But at a casual table, like this is like something that's gonna rocket you ahead, but you have to wait like 4 turns or 5 turns for it to really be good. Whereas like Mana Crypt and Sol Ring could put you in like a game-winning position on turn 1 and 2, which is like too fast, I would say, for like a casual table. But yeah, Dockside still was utterly ridiculous.
All right. Ad Nauseam.
I'm shocked.
5 mana instant. Reveal the top cards from your library and put that card in your hand. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. You may repeat this process any number of times. Assume you know how to build a deck. Is this casual?
No.
is this not the same as demonic consultation as well?
What?
The consultation gets 1 card. Right?
I feel like, but like both of these are usually in a combo where the turn that you like they're played, it's gonna get right to the bottom of the deck, get the last card, and you're going to lose.
I mean, so this is a CDH staple. This is a Storm staple, right? So
Yeah,
the
right.
idea is all the cards in your deck are low cost, 0 or 1 mana. You basically like draw 30 cards, and then with those cards, combo off and win. So you'll have like fast mana, free mana, all that stuff, and then you end it with a Storm kill. That's the proper way to do it. I don't know what the improper way of doing. Like you slap an 8-drop on top, pay 8 life, and draw it. Like I don't
It's-
like.
What?
How do you play this in a fair, casual
I have
manner?
it in a
That's
Have you
right.
ever even
Wait.
seen this played
What are you
fairly?
guys
How do you-
talking about?
What deck do you
Wait,
play this in
Tomer.
casually?
I
I'm
have
so
a
curious.
Like a
Selenium
life
life
swap
swap
deck?
deck.
Oh,
Yeah, I have a Selenium
okay.
life swap
So-
deck, and yeah, I run it.
But won't you kill yourself with this if you're just,
Yeah, but
like,
it's
ripping 8 drops off the top?
but it's
Like-
funny. Like
Okay, so discounting decks that intentionally want to get their own life total down to 1, it can't really be casual in any other context, right? Like, because of what Richard was saying, like, to play this card, you need all the fast mana, and all those cards that we've already been talking about is not being casual, or you got to be Tomer trying to swap life with people. So I think to me, this is like the epitome of a not casual card. Like, I don't even know how, outside of Tomer's one instance, how you actually build a casual deck around this.
Just super bomb. You pay 5 mana, draw 3 cards, and pay 15 life.
I guess you
But
could
no one
do
does that, right? Nobody does that.
Technically.
Why would you do this?
Hi.
Well, you're a life loss deck. That's different.
Well,
right?
then
You're
it's
using it
as
for
a card,
different
right?
purpose.
Like, am I not like it's at least like when you use it in a casual context, can it be used fairly? And I think this card can be used fairly in a casual context. Whereas like a Dockside, if I put it in my pirate deck, I'm still going to like pop off and crush everybody, right?
Do you play Mana Crypt in your Selenia deck so
Do
you
not.
can lose 1.5 life a
but-
turn?
no.
Like, it lowers your life total, Tomer.
This is one of the best
It's
deck
fair.
cards in your Selenia deck, no? It's like 5 mana, activate your win con, draw like 9 cards in the process or something, right?
It's aight. I like that. I like that it's instant speed. That's what
It's instant speed too for some reason. I
Yeah.
don't know why.
So I can lower my life total before my turn, and then on my turn, I cast my sorcery speed life swap card, and I don't have to. I have all my mana available. That's what's really good. All right, whatever. It could be competitive. I don't. Whatever.
This one. Force of Will. 5 mana instant. Counter target spell. You may pay 1 life and exile a blue card from your hand rather than paying the casting cost. Is your deck casual if you run free counters? And this is the fairest of them all because it costs you a life and an extra card as well.
That's a tough one.
I think this is the cost is worth is pretty significant. I think if this was fierce, I'd be like, get out of here. Get out
Well,
of here.
Your answer
it
changes
is also
depending which
fierce.
version it is.
Yeah.
Because there is fierce and stuff like
Fierce
that.
is nonsense.
I will say we play of all the cards we've listed so far, these kind of cards we play the most on Clash. We play like plenty of free counter spells on Clash. It's still pretty cash, right? It's pretty
Yeah.
casual.
I don't know. I
you
don't know.
forced me, Seth. You have forced me before.
Why have
so
I? Oh, yeah. No.
you have
I play
literally
that.
forced me.
I try not to play. I tried to play Fierce Guardianship just because I have a personal vendetta against that card. But I will say, when I go to a Magic Con, if I have a deck that has some free counters in it, that's one of the things I tend to tell people about. Like, if I sit down to the table,
Really?
I'll usually be like, just so you know, I got a couple of free counters in this deck. I don't like take them out, but I do tell people ahead of time. So I don't know. I don't know if it actually is as casual as we think. Like, I don't think it's not casual and whatever, but like, I don't know. I feel like I got to give the disclaimer if they're in my deck when I'm playing at a Magic Con.
Didn't we have another podcast episode where I feel like I said this and I think it's actually not even that good in casual.
What?
Because
Fierce?
hear me out. So the
It costs a card.
no, not fierce.
Force.
Oh,
Force.
Force.
yeah.
Okay.
Because like Force like of Will is gonna cost you a card, and normally this is great in like CDH where you're trying to push through a combo, right? Or something to win the game. The problem here is that I feel like in casual, since you're not trying to win the game immediately, why would I play this?
What about Fierce though, Crim? Because I think you're probably like right-ish about Force of Will, but like if this is a heading for all the free counters you could play, I think Fierce is probably number 1, right? That's where you ended up when we did our counter ranking out of the free counters. Like,
Well, Jwari Disruption was.
that's not
Jwari
yes,
Disruption
that was
is-
Yeah,
that was number 1.
I guess that nullifies everything.
We know
we've
that's
talked
already
about in the last
competitive.
30 seconds.
But like,
funny.
do you
So-
feel the same about Fierce? Like, is that also
Yeah.
not good in
I
casual
don't-
or not like whatever?
I don't
fine?
mind if it's in casual. I think it's totally fine. If you Fierce me, which you have, you literally have as well.
I felt
I
bad
haven't
about
felt
it,
like
though.
what, which is so funny to me because I was like, oh no, that was just fine. Like, as a matter of fact, it saved the table that you Fierced me, right? So I think that I don't know. I feel like these free counter spells are fine in casual just because, you know, if your deck is built casually, you're not trying to win the game on turn 3. So if you Fierce me and you protect your game plan on like turn 10 or turn 9, like whatever, who cares? I think that's fine. Sorry you didn't. Sorry, I got like I wanted you to just let me win. No, like it's totally fine. Like I think it's great.
I actually
It's hard to accidentally win with the free counterspell.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can accidentally win with an ad nauseam or breach, but like a counterspell is just a counterspell. And
Yeah.
you can protect your like terrible 8-drop commander that's a 10/10 or something with a fierce, and it's fine. And it actually gives you a tool to fight back against the higher power level decks. You can actually interact with them because it's a free counterspell. So I think it's fine, unless we're declaring Commander Clash not casual.
Mhm.
We've played so much free counterspells on the show
It's true.
that
Yeah.
does it? Are we like a high 8 or CD?
No.
No, like we're not anywhere close. No one with a straight face would say that, right? So I don't think this would fall there.
I feel like it's an arms race thing, though. Like, I don't know if y'all feel this way, but I feel like I play free counters because I know y'all are playing free counters. So I need to have free counters to keep up with your free counters when, like, we could all be like, oh, no free counters. And I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I'm really missing my casual force of will or whatever.
I think it's like because I've seen it so much, and also like in like casual groups, I've seen it so much. I kind of consider it a casual card, but it's a very high power card. Like I compare it like, okay, there's other things that can counter spells or protect your board, but I feel like that's kind of comparing like a Soul Ring to a Mind Stone. Like, yeah, they both ramp, they both get you there, but like obviously one is going to be 10 times better. Being able to just counter anything for free, ensuring that your gameplay and continues unhindered is like huge. So I don't know. It's definitely a high-powered card, but like I consider it casual just because it's been adopted so heavily. Just kind of like Rhystic Study. Like I see so many Rhystic Studies in the wild out there that like, is it, if everybody's playing it, is it still casual? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's definitely high-powered.
Is counterspell casual?
Yes.
Definitely.
Like
No.
blue counter target spell.
Yes.
Yes.
No debate.
You sure about that? Someone spends
I
12 mana on their epic game-ending spell, and you're like, well, for 2 mana.
At least you
let me
paid
stuff
2
you
mana.
there.
Let's get that mana up.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you had to leave that
Like,
mana open.
Better than 0.
The effect of Force of Will is just a counterspell or like Fierce Guardianship, and you're just paying like a 1 mana discount or something, right? Or 2 mana discount at the cost of your commander. It's not like that.
Soul Ring is a 1 mana discount to
Egregiously-
Mind Stone, but we could all agree that Soul Ring's busted.
No, Soul Ring is like a 2 mana discount to literally everything.
Oh, sorry. It's like a Worn Power Stone versus a Soul Ring. It's like, yeah.
No, it's much better than that.
It comes into play untapped, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about this Force of Will not like. Crim, do you actually disclaim people that you play Fierce Guardianship? I feel we would never get a game of Magic done if like,
No.
wow, here are the 8 free spells I play, because it like that's all spells are free now. We don't pay mana for spells anymore. That's how Commander works.
We don't go.
We use the alternate casting cost of my commanders out, and it's 0. Like that's how Commander works now.
Like,
So,
I don't
know
care about
this.
disclaimers. for
Yeah.
it, but it's a high powered card, and we're allowed. You're still allowed to play high powered cards in Commander. Like,
But is it even
Casual.
high powered? Is it
Yes.
like it's powerful? It's a
Free.
powerful effect, right? But like, there's a lot of things that I think this is gonna fall under like the rest of the shell, right? If I play all free counter spells, all fast mana, is that a casual deck? No, right? And what makes it there? It's the fast mana.
but
So
this is
if
equivalent.
I'm playing is it though? I play a free counterspell, I counterspell you, and then what? The game goes on, right? Or maybe it doesn't because
Hot.
I
It's
wanted
you,
to
Crim. You
protect
play
my
another
11
free
mana
counter
spell.
spell the next time I try to cast a spell, and then one more the turn after that. I know you.
You
okay.
have free counterspell me more than enough time.
Power level question. Okay, so it's a Fairy's Protection, ubiquitous in the format.
Yeah.
3 mana, nope out of everything, right? Until
Yeah.
your next turn, your life total can't change. You gain protection from everything. Everything phases out. Arguably insane. Like no other card does anything close to it. If we use the same metric as Fierce Guardianship, we would say this is not casual because it's just so absurdly broken, and its cost, nothing, you can't come close to it for its cost. But it's casual, no? Isn't Teferi's Protection casual?
Oh,
It's
I kind of
the
hate
best
Teferi's
in its-
protection.
It's the best in its class. I think it's also a high powered card. I think Fierce is much better than it, but like they're both top tier.
I think people accept Teferi's protection more because it isn't disrupting them. Like
That's
it's
true.
it's keeping you alive, but you're not
I
like
win the game. Sorry, I think that. Like what? That's
But
disruption.
they still get to resolve their crawl worm or whatever, their big
Yeah.
10-minute thing. It's like hitting the battlefield. You just like aren't dying to it this turn.
I think they're all fine. And I don't think like you would like if you go to a casual table, be like, I have to announce that I have Fierce or Teferi's protection. But yeah.
All right, let's go into an easy card. Stasis. Okay,
All right.
2-mana enchantment. Players do not get an untapped phase. During your upkeep, pay blue or destroy Stasis. Tomer, tell me which casual deck that you
Okay.
run Stasis in.
My elegant deck. No. I agree that this one would be non-casual because I know casual players really do not want. They want to cast their spells. They want to see their deck do their thing, and this one does a very good job at making sure nobody gets to show off their deck and do their thing. So I think this one is an easy, not casual, not like based on its power. It's just that in casual Commander, people like seeing their deck do its thing, and this stops it.
I mean, is there any argument for this being casual? This is just like one of the saltiest cards ever made. Like there's, I can't think of any reason that I would justify this as a casual card.
This would be a disclaimer card for sure. I would say like, hey, I'm running Stasis. Is that okay?
No, it's not even a disclaimer card. I think you just can't put it in your deck. Like, I don't think there's any
you just get kicked
disclaiming
from
your
the
way
playgroup.
out of Stasis. Yeah.
Oh, come on. But what if it's a cuddly Stasis?
Fair warning, you don't get to do anything this game. Let's play. Shuffle up and deal.
Fun story about this card is like I one of my friends in my play group just has this card in his deck, and it's an aggro deck, and he just plays it randomly. And like I remember like it was like a couple months ago, he just played it, locked himself out of the game, and then we did nothing. We all just did nothing. He could not do anything.
Oh man.
Hmm.
That's like
But he
blowing
wanted-
up all
he
lands
wanted to-
and not knowing what to
Yeah.
do afterwards. It's like, all right, okay.
It goes away. It's
Yeah.
not as
Yeah, it
bad
goes
as
away.
Armageddon because
Right,
eventually
right.
you can't pay for Stasis and it goes away. So
Yeah.
even if you use it incorrectly,
Yeah.
the game is recoverable. Unlike Armageddon, where everyone just twiddles their thumbs for like 20 minutes
Yeah.
I
rebuilding.
mean, it's the same effect that we all just kind of twiddled our thumbs for about 20 minutes. And he's like, all right, I'm going to keep paying for it, though, because it's funny. I'm like, okay.
There's no argument for this being casual, but I wish this was casual. Like we've had like the stacks games, the mass land destruction games on Clash, and those have been some of the most interesting games
true.
we've ever played because you actually have to play around things.
Yeah.
Right, as a green
Yeah.
player, you can't just slam all your lands and ramp like to infinity. You're aware of this card that it exists and you play around it in the same way we play around counter spells, we play around Teferi's protections. You'd have to play around Stasis, right? But most people don't like it.
Having to think about your plays
Uh,
is not casual. If you got to think, no.
I guess that is
For-
true. I think that's true.
That's why you
Bro.
always say no to the Resistance trigger. Like, draw away. So,
Okay, so it's not Stasis, but what about Blood Moon? So 2 and a red, enchantment, non-basic lands are mountains. So your lands still tap for red. They still make mana. And if you're scared of Blood Moon, just play basics. Like, is Blood Moon casual?
I will probably say I have never played Blood Moon in Commander outside of CDH. CDH, I played
not even in
before,
a
but
werewolf.
I've never played it because
Tomer, you have.
I love Blood Moon more than anyone. It is literally my favorite card alongside Panharmonicon in all of Magic. Biggest Blood Moon fan ever. I won't play it in Commander because I don't think it's casual. I feel too bad because it goes back to what Tomer said, where like in a casual game, people want to do their thing. And it feels really bad if you just drop a turn 2 Blood Moon and your opponent just can't cast a spell. Like that's not what they signed up for. They signed up to like be able to tap their mana for their colors and cast spells. So maybe, like Richard said, we should be more accepting because it leads to these interesting games. But I don't think that's how the typical casual player wants to play. I think they want to like sling their spells and see who comes out on top. So as much as I love Blood Moon, I don't think it's casual. And I won't play it in Commander.
Is this card the same then as like, choke and would you just lump it in as choke, contamination, and back to basics?
Pretty
Back
much.
to
I mean,
basics,
choke, I
for
think,
sure.
is
Pretty much.
choke is different a little bit because it only hits like one, the blue player essentially. But
Which it
contamination and things like that, like I think it's definitely similar to those.
I treat this as Armageddon essentially. Like, yeah, I can't imagine playing this. Like I like people are gonna be so salty. It's funny because so Seth plays so many Blood Moons, right? On
Yep.
against the odds and whatever, and it's because he's playing a faceless opponent. Right, so like other guy gets guys like good job, you win, video ends. But imagine you're at MagicCon and you are slamming Blood Moon after Blood Moon against a live opponent across the table. You see like their face wilt. You see them like hold back in tear. You're like, oh, don't worry, I can fight through it. I got that one Boseiju somewhere. I just gotta draw the forest that I Boseiju. Right? They're like crying. They're like, why is my favorite content creator? He Blood Mooned me, right? So. Because we play Commander in person and there's 3 friends at the table, I don't think you can play these like unnecessarily cruel cards unless you're the best of friends.
Yeah.
Like, you're it's like your brother. You're okay with Kyle driving him into the ground because you're like really close.
Would you?
But in general, because there are people here, people do get upset, and I don't think you can like sit through that with a straight face.
Would you actually like if you were playing like modern, you were playing like a modern FNM or something like that? Would you not play Blood Moon? I feel like that would be fine, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, so face to face is fine. I think it's like Commander in specific, right? It's competitive versus casual. Like if I'm playing modern face to face, I'm definitely dropping a Blood Moon on you, like for sure, and enjoying it the whole time. I want those.
You have it. Okay, I play Blood Moon and Jund. No one expects Blood Moon and Jund. This was back in the day, right? So when someone gets got by a Blood Moon and Jund, they are so upset. They're like, you cheated this win out of nowhere. You're a 3-color deck. How can you play Blood Moon? They are so upset. And I'm like, get good. But
there was a time
if they were more humble, I would feel bad for them.
There was a time when my only paper modern deck was Mono Red Prison, and the whole idea of the deck is to play turn 2 Blood Moon, and I would take it with me to events, and people would come. This is back when we still played 60 card formats, and fans would come up and be like, "Oh, will you play Kima Modern with me?" And I'd be like, "Yes, but the only deck I own is like trying to cast a Blood Moon on turn 2. So if you really want to do that, sure." You're like, yeah.
I think this one's not casual.
What about Magus of the Moon? That's like on a creature, so it's more easily removable.
I actually think Magus the Moon is fine. Like, but like because it's on a creature body.
It's less powerful, but I still won't play it. Yeah.
I hope your removal needs red.
I think power wise they're fine cards, but they do punish like multicolor decks more than non-multicolor decks, obviously. But like, just casual people I know just don't like being denied the ability to cast their spells and do magic things. So I would say no.
My Merfolk deck is all about turning your lands into islands. So I play Quicksilver Fountain, but I also play Seize Claim, all that stuff. And I have back to
Crypt is not known for being the most fun to play with.
Also, werewolves get the exception, all right? Werewolves still get to play Blood Moon.
So then would Merfolk?
Yes.
Would Merfolk get the exception then, right? Because I did
and Urza gets the exception to play Stasis.
Yes.
Right?
I did disclaim to the pod when we went to Vegas. We played a pod at Vegas. I forgot who it was. A bunch of us. And I disclaimed that to tons of people. I'm like, hey, if you want to play against my Merfolk deck, this is exactly all it's trying to do. It's trying to turn all your lands into islands.
It's a good disclaimer
because you target a land. So Blood Moon is like, don't worry, I'm just hitting everyone, my bad guy. But like Merfolk is like, hey, I'm turning this into an island. So you can't cast any spells this turn. I am choosing you, my friend. So it's much meaner.
Well,
but
if you
it's
drop
also mono blue Merfolk. Yeah. What am I gonna do? Right? I'm gonna beat you with a 2/2? No.
You can pop it up to a 3/3 with a Lord.
Oh.
All right, Necropotence, triple black enchantment. Skip your draw step. When you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard, pay 1 life, exile the top card of your library face down, put that card into your hand at the beginning of the next end step.
I think that some of y'all, right, on when we had a list, is like, is this card still good? I think some of y'all said that Necropotence is fine. I think this is one of the other cards that I don't even play this, and this is one of the other cards I would say probably could use a banning.
Ooh, wow.
I think Necropotence is insanely powerful. Like, I just don't play this card. Like, unless, like, for memes or something, just to try to prove a point. But, like, this card, I think, is absolutely disgusting.
Interesting. I think that Necro's, I mean, it's very powerful, but I think it's casual. Like, if the One Ring's casual, this is casual, right? Like, and the One Ring's definitely casual. We play it all the time. Like, isn't this just worse One Ring? Like, One Ring that costs a lot of
I mean, it draws your whole deck.
It draws
instantly.
Yeah, as opposed to the One Ring is a slow build over time.
Well, you still need a whole turn to like actually use it though, because it comes at your end step.
Sure.
And you got to discard the hand size unless you have a Reliquary Tower. So you only get to keep 7 cards.
So you only get the perfect 7.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
And you could do it at instant speed, right? Like if you need to.
I know
it comes at your next end step after that, but
I know the test homer is it in Selenia? Is it in your life loss deck? Because that's a good way to get your life total down to 1.
It turns out this Selenia deck you're running Necropotence.
I actually don't have a Necropotence in the deck. But I do have like Bolus of Citadel, and sometimes I feel like Bolus of Citadel is even better.
But that's 6 mana, right? Like this is
6 mana, but then it lets you
mana.
castle the spells on top of your library for free. So you can just drop Bolus of Citadel and then sometimes just win.
I mean, Necro is just powercraft ad nauseum, Rhystic Study, Bolus of Citadel. Like all those cards wish they were Necropotence, no?
Wait, is Rhystic Study casual? It has to be, right?
But then,
like, even though it's so busted,
it definitely isn't, but it's been grandfathered in, no? Like
it's
3
like
mana,
ring.
draw infinite cards.
But if you discard cards, you exile them, and that feels bad.
Yeah. It turns off your Underworld Breach.
Turns off, it's
right.
Underworld Breach.
You can't win by drawing 4 cards. What can you do? Oh no.
I don't know. I've seen this in so many like casual pods that like I'm desensitized to it, but like it is a very, very powerful card. It's one of the best.
Would you leave the Necropotence player alone? Because
no, you murder them.
Oh, you gotta kill them.
They're just drawing casual cards. Don't worry.
No, but
about
you could like draw like 50 cards to turn off casual cards as well too. Like I don't know.
For 3 mana though.
No, not for 3 mana. Like if somebody drops Necropotence, you're like, all right, we killed a Necropotence player. Agreed, and everybody's like, agreed.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Oh, this is an interesting one. Gaea's Cradle. I think we poo-pooed this one for some reason, which we probably should walk back on. But it's a legendary land. Tap to add a green mana for each creature you control. So with 0 creatures, 0 mana, 1 creature, 1 mana, 2 creatures, 2 mana, 10 creatures, 10 mana.
I can't believe I was the only person who said this card was good, and you guys are like, nah.
I think our argument was roughly something like an Elf Ball is amazing, but in a regular deck, it's bad. But we're wrong. I mean, even in a regular deck, it's insane, right?
Yeah.
In a green deck with creatures, who would have?
I don't know if I ever said
literally have 2
creatures.
It's a soul. It's an ancient tomb without life loss, right? With 3 creatures, it's now insane, right? So even without going super wide, it's crazy.
Especially now that you have like Yavimaya and Urborg, that like even if we got board wiped, they can still tap for mana. Like I don't know.
I mean, it's obviously incredibly strong. I think the bigger issue is it even possible for an $800 card to be casual? Like, this is an $800 reserve list
Chain
card.
of Mephistopheles set.
Chain of Mephistopheles.
All right. I mean, I guess it's not casual then. Like, I think it's not casual because of the cost restriction, but it's also pretty busted.
I definitely don't think it's casual.
I still think it's more casual than Mana Crypt, but it's both like silly. Silly cards.
That might be true, actually. I think I agree with Tomer.
Gaea's Cradle doesn't tap for 2 on turn 1. I'm sorry. Mana Crypt, you could drop a 3-drop on turn 1. A 3-drop on turn 1. No, thank you. Silly card.
This actually lets you generate like 15 mana.
Oh yeah, you'll win the game.
And uncounterable, right? Unless you stifle it or something. Like it's a land drop which can't be countered. You gotta actually stifle the activation. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's so much more powerful than a Mana Crypt.
Yeah, you can't stifle mana anyway, so you can't even do that. What about Nykthos?
Oh, you can't even stifle it?
No. What about Nykthos? Like, is that on the casual side of the line? Because that's another land that taps for a ridiculous amount of mana, but it takes a little more setup, maybe?
The setup.
I think that requires more setup, and that's why, right? And it also costs 2 mana to activate on top of that.
What about Cabal Coffers?
That's a good one.
We love
lots of
Cabal
setup.
Coffers.
Oh yeah, we
And
always
Cabal
play that.
Coffers is like real bad if you don't have like Urborg or you're not playing like a mono
Or you just
swamp
run
deck. One of those two.
basics.
Okay, sure.
That
Sure.
your deck is already casual.
I like
Yeah,
this.
super casual.
Get out of here.
All those are slow,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
Cradle can come down on turn 2 and tap for like multiples amounts of mana, and it can easily overtake a mana crypt, like super easy if you want. And then it also is your late game finisher, right? You can slap it down on turn 10, make like 15 mana, and keep doing the thing. So
Yeah.
not
casual.
casual.
Sorry.
All right, the Crim special here. Krark Clan Ironworks. I don't even know how to say that. Krark? KCI for short.
Yeah, KCI.
4 mana artifact. Sacrifice an artifact. Add 2 mana to your mana pool.
See, I think it's Krark Clan Ironworks, and I have it also split here when I recommended this with Metalworker. Because I feel like anytime you see these two, you're gonna lose, right? And it's like instantly you're gonna lose.
Well, what does
can't let
Metalworker do? Because I feel like most people won't even know it exists.
Oh.
So Metalworker is a
right.
creature that you tap it and reveal artifacts from your hand, and you add 2 mana for each
2
artifact.
for each artifact. It's a 3-drop 1/2, I believe. Yeah.
But yeah, like these things generate so much mana, and usually it just makes it so that whatever artifact deck you're running, you're just going to win very quickly. You're like these are one of those cards where you build. Oh, I just built this artifact deck. I want to see how powerful it is, and it's like, oh wow, I guess I just surprisingly won out of nowhere. One of these cards resolve and stick around, right? Like these cards it's as simple as if you do not if you let them untap, they're going to win. Krark Clan Ironworks, it is a big offender, and yeah, I know I'm used to seeing it in Modern, but it's also super powerful in Commander. You can sack lots of artifacts real easily, generate tons of mana, and then just go infinite in some weird artifact way. These are always the center point of an artifact combo, always.
Artifacts did nothing wrong.
Yeah, Crim's got a bias against artifacts. I think you got to split these 2 cards up because I think Metalworker is perfectly fine. Like it's costs 3 mana. You have to untap with it. You have to have a handful of cards, and then you get like a very good mana dork. Krark Clan Ironworks, I think I agree with that one. It might not be casual. We had a game last season on Commander Clash where I played it in an artifact deck as like kind of a sack outlet because I had graveyard synergies and sacrifice synergies. And it ended up just accidentally being like a 20-minute combo turn that won the game. And I don't think that's very casual. I think in a casual game, like you want to have everyone have roughly about the same amount of playtime. So if your deck or your cards lead to you sitting there and playing for 30 minutes at a time when everyone's watching you, probably not casual, right? Like, I don't think that actually counts as casual. So I would say KCI, not casual. Metalworker, though, I think that's perfectly fine.
I think
You could use them fairly.
I'm pretty sure like Krark Clan, like
Please,
if you combo with it, then is the combo so powerful that it would not be considered casual? If you just throw like Krark Clan Ironworks into like an artifact deck, then okay, you're making a lot of mana by sacrificing a lot of artifacts, because it requires a setup to it. Same with Metalworker, like you require a setup for it. They're both very high powered cards, but like, are they not casual?
No, Krark Clan Ironworks requires like literally. Did I shuffle up 100 cards? Okay, I won the game.
I don't know about that.
You did set up the 4 mana. How you got there? You know that was really wild. Can you give me the primer and how you tap 4 mana to play it?
I have an artifact deck. I don't even put Krark Clan in the deck.
Why is that though?
Because I don't have any combos with it. Like what?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you need to combo with
I'm gonna
it.
sacrifice my entire board to make some colorless mana. Like no.
Did you know that without it, if you look at your artifact deck, go over it and go over it again, because I guarantee you something in there will combo with this. Just add this in the deck and it will combo with it. I promise.
Oh, maybe.
Is it a breach situation where like just literally anything you would play with an insane artifact deck will just combo with it?
Yeah.
I feel no.
Not really.
Okay.
Brother.
See, this is how
I feel you need to explicitly add the combo with Krark Clan Ironworks to make it work, as opposed to you just throw it in an artifact deck and then you magically combo. I know there are a lot of memes about this, but I don't Like
Rich,
what is an easy staple that it combos
You've
with?
played Modern. You've played Commander.
Yeah, Modern's
You've seen
Modern's
you've
built
seen-
for it
no, no.
though. Like Modern decks are
Modern-
built to combo if you resolve KCI. Like that's the whole
but
point.
artifact
of eggs.
decks are already built to combo. They're like they in Commander, they just combo.
My combo is
Like
to
my
play
Bloodforged
Mech Titan and
Battle
then
Axe
make
deck
all
does
like
nothing.
tokens
Yeah.
into Mech Titan. That's all.
Okay.
My
Okay.
Voltron deck does nothing.
That's
with
not
this.
casual.
Okay.
Try
okay.
Mech Titan. Is that even
All
casual?
right. Y'all will just see. Like, because I'm gonna play an artifact deck this season.
No. So obviously, if you build an artifact combo deck, this is a very
No.
It
card.
combos
But
a
just
lot.
take a random artifact deck and throw the Ironworks in there. Does that actually do anything useful for
I'm
you?
just gonna play like Affinity. And I'm
Sure.
gonna try to hit you. And I bet you that this will combo in that deck.
Like, also, okay, on
I'll use it fairly. I'm just gonna sack all my artifacts and shoot you down with Hangerback Walker. Or whatever.
I
the
guess
other
that's
one.
true, huh?
yeah, but
Right?
like not every like isn't Hangerback Walker also like literally just a combo piece? Like you don't run that just out of the
walking
blue,
with it.
right?
I mean,
Those
no,
are actually
you
fair
do. Why
cards.
wouldn't
They
you?
could be.
I don't run
It's
that in my
played-
artifact deck. Like, why would I?
I would run
would.
it to combo with KCI. 'cause
Yeah,
it
I'd
makes
run
a
it
lot
to
of
combo with
artifacts to
KCI.
sacrifice. Yeah,
Exactly. I don't know. I
Uh.
think you just run into a lot of combo decks. What about
that's-
Ashnod's Altar? Is Ashnod's Altar like Ashnod's Altar is like literally the same text as KCI. It costs one less, I think.
but it's for
you
creatures, right?
Yeah,
But
you
you stack
sacrifice a creature, you
creatures.
make it 2 colors. Is that not casual?
I think that card is fine because you can sack creatures as much as you want,
It's
right?
not an
But like the
artifact.
fact here is it's not an artifact. If you sack an artifact, which is a treasure, which is tons of things, and then the way artifacts are just built, like they just naturally go off, right? So I think that's a big problem.
My brain does not compute this. Like, if you show me an Ashnod's Altar, I'm assuming you have a combo of it. Like,
Yeah, why
You
else
would
would you
why are
probably-
you running?
Uh,
Why are you running this card?
I mean, it's same with KCI. Like, you
Yeah.
don't run these cards unless you combo.
yeah, because they're not that great.
So
ones.
even if you are a fair deck somehow running this, you should not run it because people will just kill you because it's half a combo piece the minute you throw it down.
It's true.
But typically, these cards are played with combo pieces.
But I think you would play that just by adding this to a general artifact deck. I think you'll do like even if you don't combo, this is still busted in an artifact deck.
I don't know. Maybe if you have
You can
sacrifice and
generate a
graveyard
lot of
synergies.
mana.
So the deck that I ended up having it be busted in was Sir Ginger, which is an artifact deck, but it also like the
Ooh.
commander cares about artifacts going to the graveyard. So I played it on the thought of like, okay, this is how I can sack all my stuff to grow Sir Ginger. And then it turns out I had like Slagstone Refinery or something that makes a power stone whenever an artifact dies. And it just went like super, I don't even know if it was infinite, I don't remember, but like functionally infinite. And I didn't build my deck to do it. I played it as a sack outlet. So I can see where Crim's coming from, but I don't think it goes in any artifact deck. I think you do have to like you wouldn't play it unless you have sacrifice synergies or like something to push you to put it in your deck to begin with. I don't think you just throw it in any deck that's artifact themed.
I mean, most artifact commanders can use it, right? We talk Emery, we talk Urza, we talk like any of those. We whatever the giant Ava unit, the blue-white vehicle,
Great guy.
yeah, Shorikai. Like, if you're playing any of those like the average artifact commander, I think it can go in those decks, and I think it'll be absurdly strong. It'll instantly take your deck up a few power levels.
Wow.
Maybe.
All right.
I think
Speaking-
Ashnod's more. Where?
Poster child of CDH, Thassa's Oracle. Double blue. It's a 1/3 Merfolk Wizard. When it ETBs, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue. Put one of them on top of your library. Put up to one of them on top of your library. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. If X is greater than the number of cards in your library, you win the game. Is this casual?
It used to
I think
be.
everybody, like for some odd reason, somehow the YouTube comments think I play this card all the time. I think I played it once, and I played it in my Merfolk deck as a fair Merfolk. I think that this card is easily just a fine card, but
Yeah.
one of the most broken cards if the shell around it. Like, this card would be the same as Labman and the Jace, right? It would be those cards can be broken if your whole deck is going to demonic consultation. So, but I don't view this effect as the problem. I view the demonic consultation and all that other stuff as the problem. So if you just play like Thassa's Oracle, I don't really care, right? You've just played a fancy scry card. But it's once you start building this, I'm going to speed to the bottom of my deck shell. That's different.
I think it's been ruined for me by CDH because I know when it first came out, I would just jam it in decks because I was like, I like to draw cards, and I might accidentally like draw my entire deck, and then I need a way to not die to that, so I might as well play Thassa's Oracle. But now because it's like so well known as a combo piece from CDH, I just won't put it in any of my decks anymore. Like I'll play Labman instead, like the powered down version of Thassa's Oracle. So for me, it used to be casual, but it's not anymore.
I think like if you're putting it in a Merfolk deck or whatever, and you don't care about the you win the game text, or it's like a nice happy bonus, then yeah, sure, it's absolutely casual there. But like, it's just a lab man, right? But it's the best lab man because it's so hard to interact with. You can't like do anything once it's resolved. Basically, you have to have a stifle or counter spell, which is like blah. But yeah, I don't know. I've never seen it played fairly, but like I think it can be casual. Put it in a Merfolk, for example. Fine.
Yeah, I don't know why this card has a bad rap. By itself, it sucks, right? It's when you run with Demonic Consultation, which is a 1-mana way to like empty your entire library, it becomes the best finisher in CDH. But Thassa's Oracle is like kind of useless. No one is scared of Labman. No one's scared of Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. And yes, it's a slightly harder to interact with, but like I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's just everyone associates this card with CDH. So they're like, oh my God, it's CDH, even though you have no way of emptying your library. Although I will say there are other ways of emptying your library that are in the blue color identity. So you have a leveler or whatever, stuff like that. So people could be afraid of getting that, but I don't know. I think this is just a holdover from CDH. Like by itself, this card's kind of nothing.
That's true. Although once you add it, isn't it tempting to be like, well, I got a Thassa's Oracle, so I might as well play a combo because I might need it as a backup plan or something if you're in the colors. It seems easy to do.
That's a you issue though. Right? Like what casual deck runs leveler for fun, right? Like,
yeah, I guess that's true.
I think leveler could be played casually.
Okay. Expropriate, 7 blue, sorcery, Council's Dilemma. Starting with you, each player votes for time or money. For each time vote, take an extra turn after this one. For each money vote, choose a permanent owned by the voter and gain control of it. Exile, Expropriate. Surely a 9-mana sorcery is casual.
So I really wanted this on there because it's an extra turn spell. I initially had Time Warp actually because I just don't really view extra turn spells period as casual cards. We've gotten so much feedback from the YouTube when we do Commander Clash and extra turn loops get involved in a game. People freak. I think that's what people freak out about the most in the comments actually is extra turn combos winning the game. That means it's not casual, right? Like that's the casual audience being like, no, that's not casual. We don't like this. So what do you think? Can extra turn spells be casual, expropriate or otherwise?
I actually don't. Okay, so expropriate, I don't play it because I hate the card. but like, is it actually any different than anything else that's 9 mana? Like one of the big flashy spells like this one, I guess it's not definitive, whereas like Mnemonic Delusion or whatever does say like you're gonna win because you're gonna cast a certain amount of spells and it's kind of definitive. But is that really why this card isn't casual? Because otherwise this is just some big 9-mana spell to me. I may despise the card, but it is at the end of the day just a 9-mana win con.
I think the problem that it has is not guaranteed that you're going to win the game. Like the way it's played out is basically the person who casts it takes an extra turn, and then everybody else gives up their best permanent, right? And then you try to play the game from there. The main issue with time extra turn spells, I think, is just time equity. Like that's a major issue with casual games is people like basically having an equal share of the time, the shared time together. They don't like it when somebody's taking like 15 minutes to dirtle and everybody else is watching. That's time equity. And extra turns kind of have the time equity issue where you're taking an extra turn, you're taking double the amount of your time share, but you're not actually like showing a win or anything. It would be much different if it just said like 9 mana, you win the game, honestly.
That's casual.
But yeah, the fact that it doesn't actually always win the game is the problem with it. And the game has to continue and we have to see from there. But like I've seen it so many times played in casual, like people who play Joda, people who like cast it for free, you know, on the new Omnath. I've seen people cast Expropriate off the new Omnath. Like people love this card in casual because like, oh, I have a big mana spell, it's battlecruiser magic, yada yada yada. But I think the way it plays out is it gets people very salty because you're just taking extra turn, you're taking extra time without, you know, guarantee closing it.
I don't agree with that time equity because I can demonstrate to you an extra turn loop and end the game in 20 seconds and guarantee everyone will be salty. Right? It's just the inherent concept of like you cheated the turn order, like the infallible thing of Magic the Gathering. Like you took more turns. I was not allowed to take extra turns. It somehow riles everyone up. Because we do have like time equity decks like Blink decks or contraption decks.
I hate
like
those
things that
decks.
just take 8 million years. Any
And
deck
they're
knows
hated.
things, right? Takes takes a million years to resolve anything. Extra combats, for some reason, are not frowned upon, even though they're like almost the same thing. Like, you know, they're not quite, but like you can take infinite combats and end the game, and you can cheat on combat steps. But for some reason, they're passable. But the hatred for extra turns, especially extra turn loops.
Yep.
And
Sure, yeah.
is this Nexus of Fate? I don't know what this is. Like, why do people hate this so much? Is it from 60 card formats? Like,
I mean,
they had the decency to show the loop and end the game. Like, good job, move on. Right?
like maybe
I
people
don't
hate
know.
maybe people hate extra turns separate from time equity, but I do think time equity is a salty thing. Like Blink decks definitely, or like Super Friends when they're popping off and they're like doing 1,000 different things but not progressing the game. Extra combat I think is very different because like extra combat means like I'm gonna kill you this turn probably, you know, like we're ending things. That's my extra combat, so I think it's different. But yeah,
I
maybe
take infinite combat, slamming my 1/4 into your 3/4. Thank you.
maybe people hate extra turns in general. You know, even if you say like I'm gonna take infinite turns, GG, and then people are salty about it, then maybe just people just don't like the concept of extra turns.
I mean, the time equity thing does exist, I think, because look at Paradox Engine. Like, wasn't that actually one of the biggest reasons from the RC that they banned it? Is like, hey, you're sitting there and like taking 30-minute turns, not really doing anything, and no one likes that. So I think it plays into it. Whether or not that explains all of the hatred for extra turn spells, maybe not. But what do you think, Grim? You play a lot of blue. There's a lot of blue extra turn spells. Do you just jam random extra turn spells because you can?
But
I don't ever play extra turn spells.
Ooh.
I like the only time I have is if it's attached to like a planeswalker and it's like its alt or something like that. Otherwise, I don't play Nexus of Fate. I despise those decks. Those are the worst.
Why don't you like
And-
them, though?
Because the gameplay is miserable. It's just slow, right? And it takes forever. And like you're not even doing anything that cool. Like I took an extra turn. It's like, okay, cool. Like if you watch me stream and you watch me do that, my ADHD runs wild when I play against slow like slow opponents on Arena. I'm like, yo, you need to go faster. You need to go faster. I'll just concede rather than wait. Like so like I that's why if I see, I'll just ask you. You show me one time spell, I'll say, "Can you loop this?" I'll concede right now. Like I don't need to play the rest of this.
So I've been looking at a lot of bad ramp, okay? Like hard ramp, and it's like 8 mana for 2 lands or something. Like think like Burnished Heart levels, but like way worse. Would you guys be mad if I just played Time Warp? That's like 5 mana, draw a card, make a land.
So much better.
Right?
so much
if I
better
just
than
turn
ramp.
5, no, but with the upside of late game, it does something useful. So if I just played it as 5 mana, just one Time Warp, like no comboing, but I play it with the plan to ramp, and then late game it can be a win con too. Would you guys be like, that's not casual? Like that's too good.
I think you're looking
I
for
would-
Maybe it's just the 5 mana explore in blue. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You could do a 3
I would like
mana
to know what
Explorer
kind
with
of
Savor the
sauce you're
Moment.
on.
Yeah, savor
Okay,
the
let's look
play
at that
savor the
card real
moment.
quick.
Maybe you skip your untap step during your extra turn, so it actually is kind of like a fair way to do it if you just want the ramp because you actually
s-
can't use the extra turn.
It's a super
But
friend.
you guys are telling me
staple.
it's too sweaty then to run Time Warp in a fair
It's too
deck.
sweaty. I'm
think
sorry,
it
right?
is. Yeah.
If I
Too
just
sweaty.
birds and then time warp, just a single time warp, no looping, nothing, like it's too much.
I don't
I
know.
think
I
so.
feel like
Sweaty.
this is like a knee-jerk reaction a little bit. Like, I don't know. But yeah, it's time equity. I don't
I'm
know.
running
feel
time
like-
that's my 5-mana ramp, guys. It's trying to stop me.
I feel like you could throw Time Warp in any blue deck and it'd be good, but people don't, right? And there's got to be a reason, and the reason must be people think it's too salty or too good or too sweaty or not casual enough. Like, so I don't know. That's my thinking, at least. I don't think it is.
I think it's too sweaty.
That's
Savor
an
the moment is
interesting one.
cracked, by the way. 3 mana, that's like basically time walk. Thank
Well,
you guys.
yeah, it's like a Super Friend staple because who cares if your stuff doesn't untap? You get to trigger all your planeswalkers again, right?
I don't even play it in my Super Friends deck.
So I have Savor the Moment, I have Time Walk. I might as well put Snapcaster Mage in here, because why not? Like,
Yep.
might as well get some extra value.
Yeah,
And put
start chaining
Breach in
them, and then everybody's watching.
I
Like,
need some more mana, so
Yeah.
just that Dockside.
Mana
I got
Crypt
it.
to
So
get
the
it down
casual-
sooner. Yeah.
I get to play land drops, and people are like, "Please, just end it. Please, just kill us."
It's so easy to go down that slippery slope, though, right? Like,
It
why,
is.
why not, right?
Yeah.
Like, why not? Like, it makes sense, right? Like, why not have a way to recur this? This card is so cracked that we just recur it once. Don't
Yep.
worry, just once.
Just once.
Like Dockside.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So those are our choices for your deck isn't casual if you play these cards. Let us know if you agree. Let us know if we've missed something. Maybe there's some card that you guys avoid in your play groups because it's not casual enough, or you feel you need to disclaim when you play in a public setting. Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you all back here next week. See ya.